After reviewing more compact bookshelf speakers lately, let's take a look at something slightly larger, the German Heco In Vita 3. These speakers fall within 800 to 900 euro price range, which seems fair compared to others in the class I've tested so far. So, what do we exactly get for that price? One thing is clear, a unique and original design you certainly won't see anywhere else. The shape of the sides, the metallic trim around the drivers, and the complex terminal connection options all contribute to a distinctly individual look. I'm particularly impressed by the metallic trim around the tweeter. It gives off a kind of sci-fi vibe. Other elements work well too, with chrome detailing and the embossed Heco logo badge adding to the overall appeal. On the back, the bass reflex port and metal terminal plate also look fantastic. Build quality is respectable. Of course, I wouldn't be myself if I didn't find something to nitpick about. In my opinion, these speakers would look even better and more modern without the visible screws around the driver trims and the segmented side panels. I'm not entirely convinced by this multi-segment look. I think they would appear cleaner without it. Truthfully, it's probably my biggest gripe with the design. In terms of look and build, as it is, the Quadral Chromium 35 or Audio Vector QR1 are a bit more convincing, I must say. But minor details aside, let's move on to the most important aspect, sound quality. I initially expected this speaker to lean heavily on bass, given their solid monolithic build and German origins. To my surprise, that's not quite the case. The Heco In Vita 3 offers a fairly neutral sound without an overemphasis on bass. At moderate volume levels, the central characteristic is its neutrality, with subtly highlighted details in the high frequencies, suggesting a slight lift in that range. Looking at basic measurements in my listening room and comparing them with my reference, Quadral Platinum Plus 2, it's clear that the Heco has slightly more treble presence overall. You can feel this during real listening sessions, especially at higher volumes, where some harshness does become noticeable. That being said, at moderate levels, there is no excessive sharpness or sibilance. Still, it's clear these are not entirely neutral. You could say details are nicely emphasized with subtle nuances like clicks and snares standing out. However, highs can feel a bit condensed, perhaps even slightly artificial or plasticky, for lack of a better word. I think this might be connected to the transition between the lower treble and upper mid-range. Even so, the mids themselves seem fairly balanced. Vocals maybe don't stand out excessively, but sound mature and engaging, definitely not blurred. Sometimes they seem to fade a bit, but I think that's more due to the mentioned transition and perhaps the slightly compressed nature of the treble. Now, as for the bass, I have to commend it for being clean, even, and free of unwanted resonances despite the rare bass reflex port. Drum kicks in particular blend nicely with the treble detail. Overall though, it could use just a bit more bass. In-room measurements show that my reference, Quadral Platinum Plus 2, despite having a much smaller mid-woofer, produces more of it, especially in the lowest range. That's in my opinion matter of tuning, not drivers themselves. You can sense that the In Vita 3 drivers have plenty of power in reserve and still pack a punch, especially as the volume goes up. What's really surprising about the In Vita 3s is the sheer power and impact they deliver. These speakers can really get the party going with authoritative bass and clear treble at high volumes. That said, I'm not entirely sure this is what I look for in the bookshelf speakers. The Heco In Vita 3 partly remind me of my old Quadral Platinum Plus 2, yet I can't help but feel that the Quadrals were more mature, much more refined, and offered a better price-to-performance ratio. With stronger bass and gentle treble, They were more versatile and pleasant for everyday listening at regular volumes. The same goes for my newer Chromium 35s. For that reason, I'm giving the Heco In Vita 3 a rating of 4 out of 5 stars. They are good speakers, superbly built, exceptionally powerful, and fairly priced, but to me, they lack musicality, finesse at lower volumes, and refinement in the near-field listening. The elevated highs at higher levels also are a drawback for me. Of course, everyone has different preferences, so I encourage you to share your opinion in the comments if you listen to this, or perhaps other speakers in this class that you would like to recommend. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.